You know what I hear more than anything when I show up to a service call? It just clogged out of nowhere, and I get it. That's what it feels like. One day the water's draining fine, and the next day you're standing in 3 inches of water in the shower wondering what happened. But here's the truth. Drains don't clog out of nowhere. They clog slowly, over weeks and months, because of habits most people don't even realize are causing problems. In 45 years of plumbing, I have never had a clogged drain in my own home. Not once. And today I'm going to show you exactly what I do differently so you can say the same thing. Plus, stick around to the end because I'm going to share a 6-month maintenance trick that most plumbers will never tell you about. And it's the single best thing you can do to keep every drain in your house flowing like new. Keeping your drains clear is honestly one of the easiest things you can do as a homeowner once you understand how it works. You don't need expensive chemicals. You don't need fancy tools. You just need the right habits and a little bit of knowledge about what's actually happening inside your pipes. And that's exactly what I'm going to give you today. So let's start with understanding why drains clog in the first place. Here's something most people never think about. Your drain pipes aren't perfectly smooth inside. Even brand new PVC has tiny ridges where the joints connect. And if you've got an older home with cast iron pipes, the inside surface is even rougher. Now picture this. Every time you wash something down the drain, a tiny film of residue sticks to those surfaces. Grease, soap, hair, food particles, toothpaste, shaving cream, all of it leaves behind a thin layer. And that layer is sticky. So the next bit of debris that comes through sticks to it. Then the next layer sticks to that. Over time, you're building up a narrower and narrower opening inside that pipe. It's like plaque building up in an artery. The water still flows, just a little slower each week, until one day something catches and blocks the whole thing. That's your out of nowhere clog. It was actually months in the making. So the key to never having a clogged drain isn't about unclogging. It's about never letting that buildup start in the first place. And that begins in your kitchen. The kitchen sink is the #1 place where clogs start. And it almost always comes down to one thing: grease. Now, I'm not just talking about pouring a pan full of bacon fat down the drain. Most people know not to do that. I'm talking about the grease you don't even think about. The oily residue on your dinner plates. The butter that melts off your knife. The little bit of salad dressing left in the bowl. All of that goes down the drain and coats the inside of your pipes. Here's what I do and what I've done for 45 years. Before I wash any dish, pot, or pan that had anything greasy or oily on it, I wipe it down with a paper towel first. Just a quick wipe. Takes about 3 seconds. That paper towel goes in the trash. And now 90% of the grease never even makes it to the drain. After that, I always run hot water for about 30 seconds after I'm done washing dishes. Not warm, hot as your tap will go. That helps flush any remaining residue down and through the pipe before it has a chance to cool and stick to the walls. The other thing I never do is put starchy foods down the garbage disposal. Rice, pasta, potato peels. Those things expand with water and turn into a paste inside your pipes. I don't care what the disposal can grind up. It's not about the grinding. It's about what happens after it gets past the disposal and into the pipe. Scrape those into the trash every single time. Now let's move to the bathroom, because this is where the second most common clogs happen. And the culprit is almost always hair combined with soap scum. Here's what most people don't realize. Hair by itself doesn't usually cause a clog, and soap scum by itself doesn't usually cause a clog. But when you combine them, the soap acts like glue that binds the hair together into a thick web inside the pipe. That web catches everything else that comes through. And before you know it, you've got a full blockage sitting about 8 to 12 inches below the drain opening. What I do in every shower and every bathroom sink is simple. I clean the visible drain area once a week. In the shower, that means pulling up the drain cover and removing any hair that's collected around the crossbars. It takes about 15 seconds. It's not glamorous, but it works. For the bathroom sink, I pull out the pop-up stopper, which just lifts right out on most sinks, and I clean the hair and gunk off the bottom of it. You'd be amazed how much collects on that little stopper rod. I also switched to liquid body wash and liquid hand soap years ago instead of bar soap. Bar soap creates much more scum residue than liquid soap does. That one change alone made a noticeable difference in how clean my bathroom drains stayed over time. By the way, if you're finding this advice helpful, you should know it's just a small sample of what I've put into my new guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It's packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let's continue. This next step is one of my favorites because it's so easy and it makes such a big difference. Once a month, I do a hot water flush on every drain in the house. Here's exactly how. I plug the drain, fill the sink or tub all the way up with the hottest water the tap will produce, and then I pull the plug all at once. That full volume of hot water rushing through the pipe at once creates a powerful flush that pushes out any early buildup before it has a chance to harden. For the kitchen sink, I do both sides if it's a double basin. For the bathtub, I fill it about a quarter of the way, which is still a huge volume of water. The whole process takes about 5 minutes per drain, and I usually do it on the first Saturday of the month while I'm having my coffee. It's become second nature at this point. Now, one important note. If you have older PVC pipes, make sure you're using hot tap water, not boiling water from a kettle. Boiling water can soften PVC joints over time. Hot tap water, which is usually around 120 degrees Fahrenheit, is perfectly safe and plenty effective. Now let's talk about drain strainers, because almost everybody has them, and almost nobody uses them correctly. A drain strainer only works if it actually catches debris before it enters the pipe. Sounds obvious, right? But here's what I see all the time. People buy a strainer, set it in the drain, and then never empty it. So it fills up, water pools on top, and they either push the debris through or just take the strainer out because it's annoying. Here's my approach. I use stainless steel mesh strainers, not the ones with big holes punched in them. The mesh catches everything, including small food particles that the bigger strainers let right through. I buy them at any hardware store for about $3 to $4 each. And I empty them after every use. In the kitchen, that means after every time I wash dishes. In the shower, after every shower. It takes literally 5 seconds to dump it in the trash. The trick is making it a habit so you don't even think about it. I'd rather spend 5 seconds emptying a strainer than 5 hours fighting a clog. This next one is my secret weapon, and it's the thing that really sets my drain maintenance apart from what most people do. Every month, right after I do my hot water flush, I pour an enzyme-based drain treatment into every drain in the house. Now let me be clear. I'm not talking about chemical drain cleaners like the ones you see in the big plastic bottles at the store. Those products use harsh chemicals like sodium hydroxide or sulfuric acid, and over time they can damage your pipes, especially if you have older cast iron or even PVC. I never use them and I never recommend them. Enzyme treatments are completely different. They use natural bacteria and enzymes that literally eat the organic material building up inside your pipes. Grease, hair, soap scum, food residue, all of it. The bacteria break it down naturally over the course of several hours. The brand I've used for years is called BioClean, but there are several good enzyme treatments out there. You can find them at most plumbing supply stores or online. Here's how I use it. I mix about 2 tablespoons of the powder into a cup of warm water. Not hot, just warm, because you don't want to kill the bacteria. I pour it down the drain right before bed so it sits in the pipe overnight without any water running through. By morning, those enzymes have been working for 8 hours breaking down anything that was starting to build up. I do this on the same day as my hot water flush. Flush first to clear the easy stuff, then enzyme treatment overnight to handle the rest. It's a 1-2 punch that keeps pipes absolutely spotless inside. Now, let's talk about what to do if you notice a drain starting to slow down. Because even with the best habits, sometimes things happen. Maybe you had guests over and someone wasn't as careful with the kitchen sink. Maybe your teenager is shedding hair like a golden retriever. Whatever the reason, a slow drain is your early warning signal, and catching it at this stage is the key to never dealing with a full clog. The first thing I do is try the hot water flush I already described. Fill it up, release it all at once. If that improves things, I follow it up with an enzyme treatment, and the problem usually resolves within a day or 2. If the slow drain persists, my next move is a simple hand-crank drain snake, sometimes called a drum auger. You can pick one up for about $20 to $30, and it's worth every penny. I use one with a 1/4-inch cable that's about 15 feet long, which is enough to reach past the trap and into the branch line where most clogs form. Feed it in slowly, crank it when you feel resistance, and pull it back out. 9 times out of 10, you'll pull out a clump of hair and soap scum that was narrowing the pipe. After snaking, I always do a hot water flush, followed by an enzyme treatment to clean up whatever the snake loosened but didn't pull out. Let's talk about some common drain problems you might run into and how to solve them. First, if you notice a gurgling sound when water drains, that's usually a venting issue, not a clog. Your drain pipes need air to flow properly, and that air comes from vent pipes that go up through your roof. If a vent gets blocked by leaves or a bird's nest, you'll hear gurgling. Check your roof vents if you can do it safely, or have someone take a look for you. Second, if you get a bad smell coming from a drain you don't use very often, like a guest bathroom or a basement floor drain, the problem is almost always a dried out P-trap. That curved pipe under the drain is supposed to hold water that blocks sewer gas from coming up. If it dries out, you smell the gas. The fix is dead simple. Just pour about 2 cups of water down that drain every couple of weeks to keep the trap full. Third, if your kitchen sink drains slowly but only on one side of a double basin, the problem is usually a partial clog right at the T-fitting where the 2 basins connect. A short snake or even a good hot water flush will usually clear it. Fourth, if every drain in the house is slow at the same time, that's a mainline issue. And that's one situation where I'd recommend calling a professional. They'll run a camera down the line to see exactly what's going on, whether it's root intrusion, a belly in the pipe, or a major buildup. Trying to fix a mainline issue yourself can make things worse. Fifth, if you've been using chemical drain cleaners regularly and your drains are still slow, stop using them immediately. There's a good chance they've actually made things worse by creating a hardened chemical residue inside the pipe that catches debris even more easily. Switch to the enzyme treatment I described and give it about a month of weekly treatments to dissolve that chemical buildup. Now, for that bonus tip I promised at the beginning, and this is the one thing I do every 6 months that really keeps everything running perfectly. Twice a year, I pull every single P-trap in the house and clean them out by hand. Now, I know that sounds intimidating, but it's actually one of the easiest plumbing tasks there is. The P-trap is that curved section of pipe directly under every sink. Most modern P-traps have slip joint connections that you can unscrew completely by hand. No tools needed. I put a small bucket underneath, unscrew both connections, and pull the trap straight down. Then I take it outside, rinse it out with a garden hose, and wipe the inside with an old bottle brush. You would not believe what comes out of these things, even in a well-maintained home. A thin layer of dark sludge that's been slowly accumulating. By cleaning it out every 6 months, I'm resetting the clock and making sure buildup never gets a foothold. The whole job takes about 10 minutes per sink. I usually do it in the spring and fall. The same weekends I change my furnace filters and check my water heater anode rod. It's just a part of the routine. And in 45 years, between the daily habits, the monthly treatments, and this twice-a-year deep clean, I have never once had a clogged drain. Not in my kitchen, not in my bathroom, not anywhere. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It goes way deeper than we can in a single video, with 85 pages covering everything from clearing any clog to replacing your own water heater. If you want to stop wasting money on simple fixes, this book is for you. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.